Good morning, Year 1. Happy Thursday. This is week 2 of the Little Red Hen. First, we have our do. Now, I need your help to edit my sentences. These sentences are from my resolution. Let's read it all together with our loud, clear voice. Who will help me bake the bread? She asked. I don't want to, said the stripy cat. I don't want to, said the skinny rat. I don't want to, said the muddy pig. So using your writing checklist, I want you to spot these mistakes. I am going to give you 2 minutes to do this. So you're going to pause the video and spot those mistakes. Off you go. How many mistakes did you spot? 4? Me too. Let's find these mistakes together. First, we are going to check for capital letters. Let's check our first sentence. Do we have a capital letter? Yes. Second? Yes. Third sentence? Yeah. Our last sentence, is that a capital I? No, that is not a capital I. So let's change it to a capital I. Making sure we have capital letters at the start of all our sentences. And now we do, we can take that off our list. Next, we are looking for full stops. Shall we find the full stops? Let's look at our first sentence. Do we have a full stop in our first sentence? No, we don't. Let's put a full stop at the end. Are we going to put our full stop hovering at the top? Are we going to put under our line? No. Where should it go? Well done, on the line. Let's add it here. Fantastic. Full stop in our second, full stop in our third, and full stop in our fourth sentence. And now we have all our full stops here. We definitely have finger spaces and we have written on the line, but I still have 2 more mistakes. Now these are spelling mistakes. Did you spot them? Okay. Where did you spot the first mistake? In our first sentence. Let's see if we can find it together. Who will help me bake the bread? She asked. Which word is spelled wrong? Asked. Fantastic. Asked does not end in a T. Because it's past tense, it ends in 2 letters. 2 letters we add to words to make it into the past tense. Do you remember our suffix? I'm going to give us 3 options. Are we adding ly? Are we adding ed? Or are we adding dd? Which one are we adding? 1, 2 or 3? Well done. We are adding 2. We are adding ed. Fantastic. We've added ed to make it past tense. Now there's one more spelling mistake. Tricky red word. Did you spot it? Well done. I don't want to. Which word is spelt wrong? Want. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think. How do you spell want? 5 seconds to think about it. Okay, you've had some thinking time now. Can you tell me how to spell want? What? Ah. T. Fantastic. So it's not a, it's a Fantastic. Well done. Today we are going to be looking at how to write a question and response. We are going to use a question mark in our sentence. We're going to think of an appropriate question, and then we are going to be able to write a response to that question. Now, this is the first part of our lesson. We're practicing our skill of how to write a question and response. If you already feel really confident in this and you think your child knows how to write a question and response, you can skip to the innovation part of our video. So questions are something you ask someone. A question usually needs a response, and people ask questions to find something out. So when we look at questions, we can use our 5 W's to help you. Our 5 W's are who, what, where, when, why. So you can use those to help you ask a question. So Miss Bailey is going to show you now how to write a question. I'm going to use my 4 steps to help me, and I'm going to use my 5 W's. I want to ask a question to the Queen, and I can ask her any question I want to. My first step, I need to use a question word. So I'm going to look at my 5 W's. Am I going to say who, what, where, when, or why? I think I am going to ask. Let me think. What? What is my question word? I have done what. Now, step number 2, I have to write my question using my question word what. So what could I ask her? What is your favourite? What is your favourite meal? I want to know what the Queen's favourite meal is. So what is your favourite meal? So now we've asked the Queen the question. Number 3, we need to add a question mark. Because when we ask questions, we need to have a question mark. So I'm now going to add in my question mark. So I've done step number 3. Take that off. And step number 4, she asked. Who is asking? Miss Bainey is asking. So I am going to write she asked. And make sure I add in my full stop. So let's take off step number 4. So now we have asked the Queen a question. What is your favourite meal? Question mark. She asked. Now we can do this one together. You can help me with asking the little hen a question. So you can either get a piece of paper and write down your ideas, or you can just say it out loud with me. So first, we need to choose a question word using our 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, and why. So I want to think of what question I would like to ask the little red hen. I would like to ask her where. Maybe where does she live? Where does she sleep at night? So I think I'm going to pick where. Where. So step number 1 is done. Step number 2, what question could we ask the little red hen? Where? Can you tell me your idea? Those are some great questions. Miss Bainey is going to write, where do you sleep at night? Where do you sleep at night? So I've asked her, the little red hen, my question. Step number 3, what do we need to add? A question mark. Well done. We're adding in our question mark after we have written our question. Can you tell me what's step number 4? What do I need to write after I've asked my question? Well done. We're going to write she asked, because Miss Bainey is asking. And what do I need right at the end? Fantastic, a full stop. So we together have just written a question for our little red hen. Now it is your go. You know how to now write a question using your 4 steps and your 5 W's. I want you to ask one of the animals a question. Maybe you want to ask all of them a question, or maybe just one of them. Let Miss Bainey give you some ideas first. Maybe you want to ask them, why don't you want to help the little red hen? Maybe you want to ask them, what is your favourite meal? Maybe you want to ask, who is your favourite person on the farm? But this is up to you. I bet you got even better ideas. So right now, I am going to ask you to pause the video and you are going to write your question for one of the animals or all of them together. So get a piece of paper and write down your question using your 4 steps and using one of our 5 W's. You have 2 minutes to do this. Off you go. Can you tell me your question? Fantastic, and you remember to use one of our 5 W's. Once you have asked someone a question, they usually give you a response because they want to answer your question and give you that information. Now, when someone responds to your question, you will have the response and then you'll have the word said. But said is boring and we are going to innovate, so we are going to change our word said. So rather than said the stripy cat, we could have shouted the stripy cat. We could have yelled the grumpy pig. Maybe we could have barked the long dog. We could have mooed the rude cow. Replied the woolly sheep. Screamed the angry horse. So here are some of my ideas. Now I'm going to show you how we take notes of how to write down our other words for said. So I've got my vocabulary sheet ready. Number 1, I've written said and I crossed it out and I did a speech mark with a question mark to help me remember what this is for. So we need to think of other words rather than said. So because I have a cow, I am going to write mooed. It mooed. And because it's the past tense, we're going to add ed. And I'm going to write it in a different colour just so I remember, but you don't have to. And because I have a dog, I am going to write it barked. Adding my ed onto the end. I'm also going to write shouted. I like shouted. Shout. It. And I'm just going to challenge myself and think of one more just in case I change my mind about shouted. I am going to write screamed. Remembering my ed on the end. And yours should look like that. Now that you've just seen how to take down notes, you are now going to pick 3 words, 3 other words rather than said. So I am going to give you 2 minutes to write down 3 of your words rather than said. You don't have to magpie mine, you can think of your own. Pause the video and off you go. Can you tell me the 3 words that you picked? Fantastic. Now that we have innovated the word said, you are now ready to write a response. So we've asked our question, but now we need a response. So Miss Bainey will show you how to do them using her 5 steps. So the question was, who will help me bake some bread? So I'm going to use my 5 steps to answer that question as if I was one of the animals. So step number 1, we need to reply saying, I don't want to, because I am a grumpy, rude animal and I do not want to help bake the bread. So I'm going to write capital letter I want to. So that is step number 1. I don't want to. Step number 2, I am really angry, so I need to add my exclamation mark after I have replied, I don't want to. That is our second step. Third step is said the. Now you can write said the, but Miss Bainey is going to think of something different. I am going to say barked, because I am going to be a dog. Barked the. That's my third step. Fourth step, I need an adjective to describe my dog. So my dog today is going to be rude. He's rude. Said the rude. Got my adjective. And now I need to write what animal it is. It is a dog. Dog. And then a full stop. So let's read that together. Who will help me bake some bread? I don't want to, but the rude dog. So she did it all on her own. You would have to do the other 2 replies when you're actually writing it today. But today we're just going to focus on writing 1 reply. So we have done all 5 steps for our reply. Now it is your go. Using the 5 steps, I want you to give a reply to the little red hen. We are not going to be writing as a cat, rat or pig, so you can choose one of your own animals and use these 5 steps to help you. You can write this down now on a scrap piece of paper, on a whiteboard, or you can just say it out loud. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do that. Off you go. Can you read for me your response? Fantastic. Well done for following all those 5 steps. So today we're writing our resolution. Before we can go on to our resolution, we need our innovation checklist. So have you innovated the word said? So you need 3 of those on your vocabulary sheet. And have you also written adjectives to describe your 3 animals? So if you have it from the day before, you don't have to do this step. But if you would like different adjectives to write for your animals today, you can now pause the video and you can write down some more adjectives. I will now show you some adjectives I've picked for my animals today. So underneath your other words for said, you can write animals, and then you're going to have your adjectives for your animals. So you can either use your list from yesterday if you still have that, but I'm just going to write some other ones that I like the idea of. So for my cow, I'm going to write cow. Anything of 2 adjectives for my cow. I'm going to write it's rude and patchy. I'm going to say for my dog, I'm going to write dog down here and think of 2 adjectives for my dog. I'm going to say it's a cheeky, long dog. And then I'm going to go on to my sheep, writing sheep over here. It just helps me to write it in different colours so I know. And then in the adjectives in blue, I'm going to say it's a hungry, woolly sheep. So you would have written your 3 animals and your new adjectives. But if you already have them from yesterday, you don't have to do this step. So I can take both those things off because I have both of them on my vocabulary sheet. So I am ready to now do my writing. But first, I want to go over my actions. So all together with our capital letter, we are going to go through our actions. Who will help me bake the bread? ? She asked, full stop. I don't want to, said the stripy cat. Full stop. I don't want to, said the skinny rat. Full stop. I don't want to, said the muddy pig. Full stop. So she did it all on her own. Well done. Now Miss Bainey is ready to write her sentences. Today we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences. So that's a lot of writing. So I'm going to make sure I keep looking back at my story map. I've got my vocabulary sheet to help me with my words, and I've got my story map. It's got all the vocab that I need today for my writing, and it's going to help me remember what comes next. So off I go writing my resolution. I have written my date, Thursday the 4th of February 2021. I have my story map in front of me with my vocabulary. So I have, instead of said, I have my other words. So moved, screamed, shouted, barked. And I have my adjectives for my new animals that I have in my story. So I have all that with me to help me, my story map, and I can look to see how I can write my question and my response using my steps to help me. So first, we are going to start with our question words. We start with who, capital W. Who? Second, we need our question. Our question is, who will help me bake the bread? And that is in my story map, so I can copy that completely. Who will help me bake? This is our split diagram. Our chatty friend A make a cake. Who will help me bake the bread? So that's my question. Next, then I'm going to need a question mark. And the 4th thing I need to write is she asked. And then I'm going to need a full stop after that. So this is my question. Who will help me bake the bread? She asked. Now I'm going to write my responses. So the first thing I need to do for my response is write I don't want to. So I'm going to write my first one here. Capital I don't want to. Second thing we're going to need is an exclamation mark. I don't want to. Look at my third step. It says said the. We know we're not writing said, so instead I get to pick something else. I know I am going to write about my cow first. So I would like to pick mood. Now, only cows go moo. So if you're writing, for example, a dog, you're not going to write mood. So making sure you pick the correct one. So I'm going to write, I don't want to mood the, and now is where I get to pick my adjectives. So going back to my vocabulary, looking at my adjectives for my cow. Today I changed it. Yesterday I said that it was a black and white cow, and today I'm going to write it's a rude, patchy cow. So making sure if you want to challenge yourself, change your adjective again. So I don't want to mood the rude, patchy cow, full stop. Now we're going to repeat these 5 steps again. So first step, we need to write I don't want to. Second step, exclamation mark. Third step, what word am I going to pick rather than said? I am going to say shouted. Because it's past tense, I'm going to have ed. Shouted the. Fourth step, pick my adjectives. I'm going to write about the sheep. So for my sheep, I chose hungry and woolly. So the hungry oh, forgotten my other O. It's okay if you make a spelling mistake. You can just cross it out. Try again. Woolly sheep, full stop. And then we're going to repeat that process one more time. First step, I don't want to. Second step, exclamation mark. Third step, I'm going to pick a word rather than said. We are going to write, I'm going to write my dog. So I think I'm going to have barked. So I've had moved, I've had shouted, and now I'm going to have barked. Adding ed to the end because it's past tense. But now my fourth and fifth step are to pick my adjectives and my animals. So here I have a cheeky long dog. Ch. E, what can you see? Cheeky. L. O. Ng. D. O. G. Dog. Full stop. And now I'm writing my last sentence. So we've written 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th sentence. So my last sentence is so, looking into my story map to help me. So she did it all, making sure you check your spelling of all tricky red words, on her, oh blur the snow, full stop. So we should have 5 sentences all together. Let's read it. Who will help me bake the bread? Question mark. She asked. Full stop. I don't want to. Exclamation mark. Mood the rude, patchy cow. I don't want to. Shouted the hungry, woolly sheep. I don't want to. Barked the cheeky long dog. So she did it all on her own. Now I'm going to use my writing checklist to help me. Capital letters. I've got 1 for my first sentence. Here we can see I have all capital letters here, and my last sentence has a capital letter. Can tick that off. Next, do I have full stops? We have 5 sentences, which means we have 5 full stops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all at the end of each sentence. Finger spaces. Yep, I have finger spaces in between each of my words. Have I written on the line? Yes, I have written on the line, and my sentence has made sense. Let's check if we have changed the correct thing. So today we were changing the word said. So I shouldn't have said. Instead, I need to have other words, making sure they end in ed. I have mooed, shouted, barked. Fantastic. Have I changed my adjectives for my new animals? Yes, I have. Rude, patchy cow. Hungry, woolly sheep. Cheeky, long dog. So I've changed everything that I need to today. Fantastic. Now it's your turn to write your resolution. Here you have the story map to help you. You've also got your steps to write a question and your steps for your response if you need that for help. Making sure you keep looking at the story map because it helps you with all the vocabulary that you need. And then you can go back and check your sentence. So for your resolution, I am going to give you 15 minutes to write your resolution. Don't worry if it takes you a bit longer because you have 5 sentences to write today. So take your time, and I can't wait to see that on Seesaw. Off you go.